Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Decoding with Cody. Today is May 22nd, 2026, and this is a recorded video, not a live stream. In this video, we are going to cover the death, unexpected and young death, of very famous NASCAR driver Kyle Busch. And we're going to talk about a lot of things here, but I want to start out by, saying that this is very in alignment with the sudden death of Kobe Bryant right before coronavirus started in 2020. And of course, recently we've had stories of viruses. And there's just so many parallels between Kobe's death. Remember, Kobe was buried in Corona del Mar right before coronavirus kicked off. And his death was a sudden death that happened right before coronavirus. Now we have a guy named Kurt Busch who dies. And the initials, Kurt Busch, is KB, Kobe Bryant, KB. They both died at 41 years of age. And we're going to look at all that, but way too many coincidences here for this to be anything but suspicious, but also a bit ominous because of the connection that Kobe had with the pandemic outbreak. I'm not saying that there will be another one just because another guy died in the same fashion, or another guy with the initials KB and died at 41. It doesn't mean there'll be another pandemic, but it certainly is interesting. Now, before we get into this, I'm going to preface this by saying I didn't even build a lot of slides on my own. You guys are going to want to go out, check out gematrinator.com, where the calculator is, and his blog, Derek's blog. So Derek is a avid NASCAR fan, and he decodes NASCAR all the time. So even though I would have found these connections on my own, Derek was already on this before I even started. So I'm going to share a lot of Derek's work in this decode, and I'm also going to share what I was looking at right before this death is announced and how it connects to the Rosicrucians in a way. But the Skull and Bones, we're going to talk about the Skull and Bones Secret Society, of course, which kind of reminds you of George W. Bush, Skull and Bones member, and his father as well. His father, George H.W. Bush, was the 41st president. In fact, let's just George H.W. Bush, and he was the 41st president, okay? And now we have a death of a 41-year-old named Bush. And honestly, I didn't look much more into this connection personally, and I don't know if Derek did or not in his decodes, but this just seems interesting. You have a 41-year-old dying with the last name Bush. Of course, it's not spelled the same way. It's spelled with an extra C. But I think in the end, it's obviously the same etymology. And again, Skull and Bones member, right? And in just basic, simple gematria, Skull and Bones equals 41, guys. And again, he died at 41. Just like the 41st president was a Skull and Bones member. And Kobe Bryant died at 41. Okay, so now the Skull and Bones is connected to the Rosicrucians. They're all kind of connected through the Templars and the Jesuits. But we are going to talk about the Rosicrucians here because I had found a pattern before this news even broke. And I was going to share that today, and then this news story came. So that's what we're going to talk about here. So let's get into more the depths of it. But the first thing I want to point out is I already mentioned how it's a bit suspicious that Kurt Busch dies in connection to Kobe Bryant. But before we do that, let's just state the obvious, okay? So after all that, all the connections I just mentioned between Kobe and Kurt Busch, their initials are the same. They died at the same age, okay? They died shockingly, suddenly. Of course, one died in a helicopter crash and one died of a sudden illness. But look at this, guys. As Derek pointed out on his website, another famous NASCAR driver came out and said, Denny Hamlin came out and said, we've lost our Kobe Bryant. That was a headline, okay? That was a headline. Another connection I forgot to mention is that Kurt Busch drove the 8 car and Kobe Bryant wore the number 8. Okay, so they both had the 8 connection. But yeah, another NASCAR driver came out after the death of Kurt Busch and said, we've lost our Kobe Bryant. I mean, just how much more in your face does it need to be? But also, Michael Jordan, the other famous basketball player, Denny Hamlin is the co-founder. So the guy who said this, as Gematria points out, Hamlin is the co-owner of 23XI Racing along with Michael Jordan. Now, Michael Jordan is in racing, but he is the most famous and greatest of all time in basketball. And Kobe is very connected to Michael Jordan, okay? But look at this. Kyle Busch equals Kobe Bean Bryant. I mean, their names have matching gematria, guys, in Latin. And this is, again, I always say this, but it's very, 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 very hard to get a match in the Latin gematria cipher. And when you're getting a match between two guys who have already made the connection with, and you're getting a match in the Latin cipher, it's absolutely mind-blowing, okay? It's in your face, all right? And Derek points out that Devil equals 738 in that same cipher, and Mark of the Beast in Standard, and also Human Sacrifice all have that gematria. And look how old. NASCAR was 78 years and 3 months old when he died, guys. Do you see this? So he has the same gematria as Kobe Bryant, Kyle Busch, and even Derek points out that when Kyle Busch died, Kobe would have been 17438 days, which has the 738 in there. But yeah, and that's in the same cipher as Devil, guys. And remember, Kobe had a 666 workout. He scored 81 points in his 666 game. But again, in NASCAR, when he died, he's famous for being in NASCAR. And when he died, NASCAR was 78 years and 3 months old. Are you kidding me? And that's the number he shares with Kobe Bryant. And, you know, Kobe scored 81 in his 666 game. Kobe Bean Bryant equals 81. Mark of the Beast, 81. But I'm going to stop there for now with Derek's post because this is the big one that I really wanted to share first. But connections between Kobe and between I just laid out that connection, right? But something I saw on Zach Hubbard, Gematria Effect News, that he pointed out, and again, I'm using a lot of other people's work today, but it's because they already got to it before I could even research it. But again, Gematria Effect News, Zach Hubbard is the one who found this, and I'm going to share it with you here. Kyle Busch died of a severe illness during the 79th World Health Assembly. And again, I just mentioned how Kobe died in connection to coronavirus. And now Kyle Busch dies right after we had all this virus outbreaks this month. We had like 3 virus outbreaks. And now he dies of a severe illness, which they haven't said fully yet what that is. But Kyle Thomas Busch, his full name equals 79, like severe illness. That's what they're saying he died of. And he died during the 79th World Health Assembly. I mean, wow. Now, also, another thing I saw going around the internet from multiple people is that just a few months ago, Kyle and his wife, Samantha Busch, reached a confidential out-of-court settlement with Pacific Life Insurance Company on February 26, 2026. The Bushes had sued the company for $8.5 million, claiming they were misled into purchasing Instex Universal Life policies as tax-free retirement plans. So he had just won a settlement from a life insurance company a few months ago, and now he's gone suddenly of a severe illness. Kobe, right before he died, also won a legal battle over a pharmaceutical company. Something about his Black Mamba nickname, which again is the Black Snake, of course, objecting to their attempts. They were trying to, I guess this company was trying to trademark his Black Mamba. So he had won that, right? He died 24 days. He won this lawsuit 24 days before he supposedly died. Of course, Kobe might still be alive. Both these guys might still be alive. But the point is, they both won lawsuits connecting with health stuff, pharmaceutical company and a life insurance company, just before they died suddenly at 41. Okay, and so these are the things I just wanted to hype on, like the clear, really suspicious things. The Kobe connection, the KB initials, the same age. They even have the same gematria. And the NASCAR was 78 years and 3 months old, which is the gematria of Kyle Busch. He died on that day. It's in the same cipher as Devil, okay? And again, the connection between the 79th World Health Assembly, he died of a severe illness, okay? So everything looks really suspicious as usual, but yeah, so many connections. And again, I'm not going to go through this whole post of Derek, but he mentions the connections between Michael Jordan, Dale Earnhardt, another famous NASCAR driver, actually equals 666. But again, I won't get into that. If you guys want to check out his post, make sure you go to gematrator.com blog, and you can find this post. And in connection with the 41s, guys, Bush's tragedy occurred less than a month after he turned 41. Okay, so he just turned 41 this month. Kobe died at 41. Kobe Bryant equals 41, like skull and bones. Okay, and Derek goes on to talk a lot about the skull and bones. He talks about the President Bush, who equals 410, like 4-1 in standard. That's the former skull and bones president. But there's a lot more here, guys. Honestly, I'd rather let Derek, if Derek was here, but I just decided to do a recording video. But I definitely want you guys to go check out this post. In his second part, he mentions the connection to skull and bones, right, in general. Notice that Kyle Thomas Busch equals 223. Skull and crossbones equals 223. Okay? But this is where I'm going to kind of segue into my findings, okay? And notice that Kyle Busch died 9,223 days after Dale Earnhardt, another famous NASCAR driver that died. And Kyle Busch died 2 months and 23 days before the next solar eclipse, which is a huge moon eclipse number, as Derek shows in Hebrew. Now, the 223. I mentioned the Rosicrucians, and just before the announcement of Kyle Busch's death last night, before it was announced, I was looking into the Rosicrucians. And as soon as Kyle Busch, his death was announced, I started saying, oh, wait, maybe this is connected to what I was finding with the Rosicrucians. And considering we just talked about the 223s that Derek pointed out, like Kyle Thomas Busch equals 223, I want you to see how that kind of overlaps with the Rosicrucian order. Let me just take these out of here because they're not relevant at this moment. But so notice how the Rosicrucian order equals 223, like Kyle Thomas Busch. Now the Rosicrucian order is so this is the AMORC based out of San Jose, California. Now this is essentially the modern day Rosicrucian order. But you'll notice they use the phrase the Rosicrucian order. I'm going to use a few different phrases here. For instance, I'm going to decode the Rosicrucian order in gematria. I'm going to decode the word Rosicrucianism, which they also have here. I'm also going to probably just decode just the words Rosicrucian order, because each of these have a connection here. But they also have a much longer name. Also, they have a much longer names for their thing. We're also going to look at those. But you might be, okay, Cody, you were just looking into this last night. Why do you think this is connected to Kurt Busch's death? Well, if we go to May 2nd, 2026, you're going to see that the Run for the Roses was on May 2nd, 2026, the horse race. Now, think about it. Horse racing. Now, a NASCAR racer dies. Now, whose birthday was May 2nd? It was Kyle Busch. So, Kyle Busch, his last birthday was the Run for the Roses. So, his last birthday that he celebrated, his 41st birthday, was also the same day as the Run for the Roses, okay? And again, a racing connection, race cars, horse racing. So you might be, okay, Cody, his last birthday was on the Run for the Roses. I mean, that's interesting, but I need more evidence to show that this is somehow also connected to the Rosicrucians. And again, the Rosicrucians are kind of in the same light as the Skull and Bones, right? In fact, there's a show called The Order. There's a show called The Order, and it takes place at Belgrave University, and it's about magic, and it's kind of a playoff of Yale, okay? But it's also a playoff of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and the Rosicrucians, because look at the name of the secret society in this show. You have the Hermetic Order of the Blue Rose. That's the name of the secret society in this show, called the Order. Now remember, Skull and Bones is called the Order. So all these secret societies are blended here in this show called the Order. Okay, and I haven't watched this fully, but I would recommend looking into it. It does have a lot of interesting symbolism that I've seen so far. And but yeah, I just wanted to point out that there's a show called The Order. It mixes the rose with the Hermetic Order. Yeah, just all that. Okay. So anyway, back to what I was saying. This is the current AMORC. Okay. And they're based out of San Jose, and they're based out of Rosicrucian Park, which has the Rosicrucian Egyptian Museum. Now, the Egyptian connection cannot be overlooked here, because they trace their lineage back to Akhenaten. Now, we've talked about Akhenaten in connection to how he looks like Barack Obama. But they literally trace their order back to Akhenaten of the 18th dynasty. Now, Akhenaten was the pharaoh of the 18th dynasty. Now, Kyle Busch is known for driving the 18 car, okay? So that's interesting. Now, we're going to have a huge eclipse coming up in Egypt next year, and I believe it's all connected to that. But let me get into this part right here, okay? So last night, before I learned of the death of Kyle Busch, I was looking into Cody Rhodes again. I told you guys later this month, and just keep in mind that Kyle Busch's last birthday was the Run for the Roses, okay? Just keep that in mind. But I just showed you guys that there's a show coming up called Clash in Italy at the end of this month. And I mentioned how it's connected to the Shroud of Turin and Jesus Christ. And the whole thing of Rosicrucians is all about Christ on the cross. Okay, the Rosicrucians, think about how it's the Rose Cross, which also probably stands for the risen Christ. Okay, but remember, I was talking about this. On May 31st, There's a clash in Italy with Cody Rhodes. Now, why is Cody Rhodes important to this? Well, Cody Rhodes was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, Charlotte, North Carolina. Cody Rhodes. He's getting ready to have this big match in like 11 days or 10 days. And where did Kyle Busch die? He died in Charlotte, North Carolina, the same place that Cody Rhodes was born. Okay, so he died in the city Cody Rhodes was born. Now look at the year that Kyle Busch was born, 1985. Cody Rhodes was born in 1985. In fact, Cody Rhodes was born 59 days after Kyle Busch. Now, Cody Rhodes, again, remember he has this big match coming up. But let's go back and let's see what was posted on the Instagram of Kyle Busch. He posted this in 2024. Now, in 2024, there was a Great American Eclipse. And right before that Great American Eclipse, Cody Rhodes became the first champion in the Rhodes family, okay, after his dad never won it. And he did that at WrestleMania 40. Later that year, Kyle Busch posted this picture. Now, it features him and his wife dressed as roses and thorns. And notice they used the word bush, like bushes. This also draws back to the George W. Bush family. And yeah, but they posted two pictures of them as roses. Now, I want to focus on the wife because she's the one wearing the rose. Now, this is a direct connection to Mary, who's often associated with the rose. And don't forget that rose equals Mary in Gematria, okay? And yeah, there's a lot I could say about Mary and Venus and all of that, but I'm going to try to stick to the Rosicrucian part in this decode. So look at this. Kyle Busch died in Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, remember, Cody Rhodes. I'm going to explain why Cody Rhodes is connected to the roses and the Rosicrucians in a second, but Cody Rhodes was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. Kurt Busch died in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Rosicrucian order equals 106, like Charlotte, North Carolina. Now look at Kurt Busch. He equals 106, okay? But Kyle Busch. I keep saying Kurt. Kyle Busch, his wife's name is Samantha Busch, and she equals Rosicrucian in two ciphers. And she's the one wearing the rose in this picture. So now, why am I talking about Cody Rhodes? Because, again, at the end of the month, the reason everything is connected to Cody Rhodes is because he's the main star, the energy of the wrestling company right now, okay? And I really hype on this because it's undeniable what they do with these wrestling symbols. Cody Rhodes so Cody Rhodes, whenever he ends the match, he does something called a crossroads, okay? Crossroads refers to the signature finishing move of professional wrestler Cody Rhodes. Now, in Greek, the word Rhodes is derived from Rhodon, and Rhodon means rose. So, in reality, guys, the move that Cody Rhodes uses to finish the match is called the crossroads, which can literally translate to crossroads or rose cross. Now, the rose cross is the Rosicrucians. Okay? As you can see here, the rose cross is a major mystical and alchemical symbol that dates back to the early 17th century. It serves as the central emblem for the various Rosicrucian organizations, including the current day Ancient Mystical Order of the Rosy Cross, AMORC, which is also why Cody Rhodes' initials are CR, like RC. Now remember, George W. Bush is connected to the Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones went down on George W. Bush's 76th birthday. And Skull and Bones equals 76, right? And so the Georgia Guidestones. So even though Cody Rhodes was born in Charlotte, where Kyle Busch died, Cody Rhodes grew up in Atlanta. He grew up in Georgia, okay? George W. Bush, Georgia, near the Georgia Guidestones. Okay, the Georgia Guidestones are about depopulation. I told you in the beginning of this decode, it connects very similar to these pandemic exercises. And so Cody Rhodes, born in Charlotte, but he ended up moving and growing up near Georgia Guidestones in Georgia, near Atlanta. Now, Cody Rhodes, he would eventually, go on to win the world championship. So let me just get to that part here. So this is the key, guys. This is the key to the whole decode, all right? On the same night that Cody Rhodes, let me just read what I have written here. On April 7th, 2024, at WrestleMania XL, both Cody Rhodes and another wrestler named Bayley reached the pinnacle of WWE by winning major world titles on the exact same night. Bayley, whose real name, this is key, is Pamela Rose Martinez, okay? Bayley, real name Pamela Rose, used her signature finishing move, just like Cody Rhodes' signature finishing move is the Crossroads, which means Rose Cross. She used the Rose Plant to win the WWE Women's Championship, and later that night, Cody Rhodes hit 3 consecutive Crossroads or Rose Crosses to pin Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Championship. So on the same night, the 2 major big championships in the women and the men's had a connection to the Rose. The Rose Plant won the championship for the woman, and the Rose Cross, the Crossroads, won for the men. Now, during the entrance of Pamela Rose Martinez, she came out dressed as an Egyptian Isis, which connects to Mary again, the rose, okay? But Isis, why did she dress up as Isis? Now, this is the key, guys. The same night Cody Rhodes won, right? During her entrance as Isis on April 7, 2024, WWE commentator Corey Graves, Rose on the Grave, explicitly credited her hometown connection on the live broadcast. He explained to the audience that Bayley grew up in San Jose, California, right down the street from the famous Rosicrucian Park and its Egyptian museum. So literally, guys, the reason that she wore this is because of the Rosicrucian Park. They literally said the word Rosicrucian on live WWE, guys. So how can you even deny that this is about the Rose? I already showed you how Cody Rhodes, on the same night that Bayley did all this with the Rosicrucian, paying tribute to the Rosicrucian Park in her hometown, Cody Rhodes used the Crossroads, which literally means Rose Cross. Okay? Now, let me just play it for you. Let me just play the clip. This is the entrance. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Listen to the announcer say Rosicrucian.
Rosicrucian Park, Michael Cole. I was correct. I just had that verified by another Bay Area friend of mine.
Did you hear that? During the entrance of the other wrestler, Bayley was already in the ring, but this other wrestler was coming to the ring, and he said he verified that it was the Rosicrucian Park where Bayley was inspired by her entrance. You heard it from his mouth, okay? Live on WWE, biggest event of the year, okay? And then later that night, Cody Rhodes won. And you can see this is the Rosicrucian Museum where Bayley was inspired to wear this, okay? But here's the key, guys, just to show that this is clearly connected. On that night, when Cody Rhodes and Bayley won that, and she paid tribute to that Rosicrucian Museum, Cody won the championship, and he did not lose that championship that he won that night for 378 days. He was champion from that day to this day, April 20th, 2025, when John Cena beat Cody Rhodes. And John Cena actually equals, his full name equals 223. Like, I'll just pull up the 223s again. We just talked about the Rosicrucian Order equals 223. Well, check out the guy who beat Cody Rhodes after 378 days. It was John Felix Anthony Cena. the Rosicrucian Order is a direct match to his name. And of course, Kyle Busch. Okay. Now, why did I mention he held the title before losing it to John Cena for 378 days from when he won it? The same night that Bayley paid tribute to the Rosicrucians. Okay. Look at this. If you go to the Rosicrucian books, which was founded by a guy named Harvey Spencer Lewis, this is his book called The Mystical Triangle, okay? Or his weekly Rosicrucian post that he made back in 1927. Okay? The name he uses for the name of his order in his posts is this: the ancient and mystical order Rosicrucis. Look at this, guys. From Cody Rhodes winning that championship, what I already showed you is connected to the Rosicrucians, which was founded by the same guy. And if you use the name of the way he calls his society, Ancient and Mystical Order Rosicrucis, it equals 378 and 540. Now, why is that so mind-blowing? It equals 378 in ordinal forward gematria and 540 in reverse, the two base ciphers of gematria, English. 378 and 540. From Cody Rhodes from his championship win to him losing it was 378 days and 54 weeks and 0 days. The exact gematria of the forward and backwards of the name of this secret society. I mean, it's undeniable, guys. And I wondered for so long, for a year and a half or 2 years now, I wondered why he had the championship for 378 days. And now I know. Okay, this is just mind-blowing, especially when you're looking into this guy for years and then you find out this. And that the exact gematria of this society she paid tribute to the exact museum that this guy built. Okay. And then I pulled from this guy's work and I get this gematria, which shows you the exact amount of days that goes to correspond with the gematria of this society. Now, but this is the most mind-blowing part, guys. After I found all of this last night, I just typed in Cody Rhodes in gematria, and I typed in Rosicrucianism. And look at that. Guys, his name literally in the cipher, where it's very hard to get matches. I already told you this. Remember how Kobe Bean Bryant equals Kyle Busch in the same cipher. I told you it was very improbable. Look at this. Cody Rhodes equals Rosicrucianism. In the same cipher, guys. I just showed you this. I showed you this clearly. Even just the name of his move tells you about the Rose Cross. It's the most undeniable thing you're ever going to see. Okay? And then even just to add another layer, Cody Rhodes in the cipher, it's hard to get matches, one of the most important ciphers, equals Rosicrucianism. Okay? I mean, just ridiculous. Okay? Just ridiculous. Now, let's go back really quickly and let's finish this off by talking about how later this month, Cody's going to be going up at Clash in Italy versus Gunther, the German-Austrian, the Austrian. And remember, Rosicrucianism got its origins in Egypt, kind of, but Germany, he also, this guy who founded this, Harvey Spencer Lewis, he also got influenced by Aleister Crowley, which, I mean, we could talk about Aleister Crowley. I've talked about him plenty over the last months. But Rosicrucianism has a German connection, okay? And you can see here they call it, they said it goes back to Egypt, but the first manifestos that we have are from early Germany. So Cody is going to go up this month against Gunther, and Gunther is Austrian/German. Okay, now I just want you guys to see how crazy this is. So if you go from Cody Rhodes winning that championship and Bayley paying tribute to the Rosicrucians the same night, right? If you go from that incident, right, on April 7th, 2024, and you go to the match that Cody Rhodes is going to be having against Gunther at the end of this month, It's exactly 784 days. So from the Rosicrucian Day, where they paid tribute to the Rosicrucians and Cody Rhodes' first big championship, it's 784 days to Clash in Italy. And 784, look at this, 784 is the gematria of Rosicrucian order. So this is why I believe Kyle Busch, remember, Kyle Busch dies now. His last birthday alive this month was on the Run for the Roses. Cody Rhodes going to be the very end of this month. Now, this leads us to next month, okay? But again, just to reiterate, 784 days from the big tribute to the Rosicrucians and Cody Rhodes win to Clash in Italy. And that's the gematria of Rosicrucian order, okay? Now, on top of that, we're going to go to next month, because next month, when is the Rose Moon in June 2026? It's on June 29th. Okay? So there's a Rose Moon on June 29th going into June 30th, a Rose Moon, okay? Why is that interesting? Because whose birthday is June 30th? Cody Rhodes. So there's going to be a Rose Moon on Cody Rhodes' birthday next month. And how old is Cody Rhodes going to turn? 41. Cody Rhodes is going to turn 41 on a Rose Moon. Kurt Busch turned 41 on the Run for the Roses. You guys get it? Kurt Busch turned 41 on the Run for the Roses. Cody Rhodes is going to turn 41 on a Rose Moon. It's just ridiculous. And they were born the same year, guys. Now, why is that interesting? Because Rose equals 57, 21, 51, 24. Moon equals, just look at the gematria overlap between Rose and Moon. So you're going to have a Rose Moon. Okay. And remember, this all connects back to Mary. Mary also has the same gematria as Moon and Rose. Okay. And this connects to Isis, because Isis is who was Bailey dressed up as and paid tribute to the Rosicrucians. So Isis, Mary, you guys understand what I mean, right? So now, also, I'd like to point out that if you go to the Rosicrucian website in North Carolina, in Charlotte, every month on the second Sunday of every month, the Rosicrucian order has a Queen City atrium. Now, why is this interesting? In Charlotte, this is the Charlotte branch of the Rosicrucians. They call it the Queen City. Well, on Kurt Busch's 41st birthday, which was the Run for the Roses, that was the birthday of Charlotte. If I can find her, Charlotte Princess. That is the birthday of Princess Charlotte. So Kyle Busch's last birthday was on the same day as Princess Charlotte's 11th birthday. And then where did Kyle Busch die? Where was Cody Rhodes born? Charlotte. Where did Kyle Busch die? Charlotte. Kyle Busch died in Charlotte. His last birthday was on Princess Charlotte's birthday. I mean, and let's not even get into all the Charles connections. Charlotte means Charles. Just a few days before this, there was a moon Radio Caroline, okay? Radio Caroline announced that accidentally that King Charles was dead. Remember, Caroline is a form of Charles. Charlotte is a form of Charles. All Charlotte, Charles, Caroline, all the same etymology, okay? Now that you have a Radio Caroline just a few days before Kurt Busch dies in Charlotte, you have a computer error blaming that there was an accidental death announcement of King Charles III. Of course, Princess Charlotte, who I just said is Kyle Busch's birthday, she's the heir, third in line after King Charles. So it's all connected, guys. And there's a huge, and like I said, I've already been talking about this all year that, King Charles' time is going to be up within the next year and a half, I believe. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but within a year and a half, I really believe. By the end of 2027, I really believe. And yeah, but I don't want to say more about that right now. Another thing I want to mention before we hang this up is that Trump just received rose seeds from China. Just to go with this rose theme again, President Xi sends unique gift to Donald Trump. Xi gives Trump rose seeds. Okay. So this theme just 7 days ago, right? Or just 4 days. Wait, 7 days ago, I guess that happened. Trump got rose seeds. Okay. So Trump got rose seeds. All this Rosicrucian stuff I just mentioned. I think I hit on everything that I want to hit on, to be honest. And there's probably way more. There's way more to the Kobe Bryant stuff. And if you guys want to check out Gematrinator's post, please do that. And you'll find even more information. But for now, guys, we're going to end it. It's been a long video, but I appreciate you guys watching as always. And thank you so much for everything. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.